All right. I just got done listening to Talkative Tri's video about the state of Necropolis League. And in that video, essentially he says that people are leaving the Necropolis League, or at least a part of why people are leaving the Necropolis League is because of D4 good and Lost Ark good, right? D4 went from D4 bad to D4 good, and people are moving over to D4. And I couldn't disagree with this sentiment anymore. Now, the end result is correct. The end result is more people are moving to D4 from POE, and more people are moving from Lost Ark from POE. But it's not because Lost Ark is good or because D4 is good, but rather Necropolis is bad. We don't want to diminish the fact that Necropolis is bad, and that is why people are leaving. I know this is a fact because I am an old man and I've been around playing video games for a long time. When video games are good, people play those games. When video games are bad, people don't play those games. There's no reason to complicate it any more than that. Necropolis, bad league, people quit early, people leave. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of which I'm going to talk about as I run some maps and just kind of chill. But we have a game that's coming out with a DLC. It's called Elden Ring. Woo! It's going to be awesome, right? The Elden Ring DLC is going to be so goddamn fire that I have to squeeze it into a Path of Exile video. And you know who's not worried about other games coming out around the same time as their downloadable content? Elden Ring. Elden Ring is not worried that Destiny is going to have an expansion pack or some other game is going to have an expansion pack. Elden Ring is not worried about Dragon's Dogma. Elden Ring is not worried about anything because you know why? The Elden Ring DLC is going to be so goddamn good that all of you guys are going to get pregnant. You're all going to get pregnant with little Miyazaki babies from this DLC. That I can promise you. Now, if Necropolis was an amazing league, right? If they released a banger of a league, people would still be playing POE. In fact, they would have much higher trends because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of quality of life they've added this league that if not for Necropolis being bad, people would be loving this league. I'm kind of loving this league, but I'm a little outside of the norm. Now, that is pretty much my take. Necropolis bad, that's why people are not playing Necropolis. It has nothing to do with competitors, right? The only way it would have anything to do with competitors is if competitors didn't exist and the only thing they had to play was POE. And if that's the truth, if he's right that the only reason people aren't playing Necropolis is that 2 other games are good and 2 other games came out and everyone's moving to those other games, that means that people have been playing POE simply because there's nothing else to play. And I don't believe that because that's not why I've been playing POE. I play POE because I enjoy it and it's fun. Other people are leaving POE for the exact opposite reason. Now let's go ahead and talk about why people are leaving the Necropolis League. I'm going to start with just a map, right? I got this map. I'm going to hit activate. Oh, GGG built in a pop-up. This is a pop-up. I want to run a map. I click it, I throw it in the map, and there's a pop-up intruding my ability to play this game. And then there's a bunch of words here. I don't want to have to read this dog shit before I enter the map. I don't want to have to do this. They need a way to turn this shit off. Necropolis bad. If you can just turn off Necropolis, it'd be fine, right? So, okay, pop-up, not that egregious. Not that big of a deal. I'm kind of over-dramatizing it for the fun, for the giggles, for the shits, all of that jazz. So let's go in here and run a map. And let's see if they built in any other pop-ups. Are there any other pop-ups that I am going to find in this map? The spoiler is yes. I'm going to find a bunch of annoying ass body pop-up. What the hell was that? I don't know why the hell I just died. I should not have. I'm way tankier than dying that quickly to a one-shot, but whatever. Whatever. We don't need to worry about me dying like that. This isn't about the build. This is about me talking about the league, right? All right. So what's going to happen in this map is it's going to eventually drop a bunch of body parts that I don't want to pick up, and eventually those body parts are going to cover a piece of loot that I do want to pick up. And right now, I'm pretty sure I'm full on body parts, and I definitely don't want to pick up any more body parts. I don't want to grab any of these body parts. I want nothing to do with this nonsense. And my latency is fucking dog shit. You know what? I don't even care about this map. I should just leave and then find a new server with better latency. But anyways, back to why Necropolis is bad. And Necropolis is bad because you can't skip the league, and the league is pretty annoying. They're not giving me nearly as many bodies. Normally I'd have like 10 bodies just sitting around waiting to get touched by accident, because no way in hell I'm going to pick one of those annoying ass bodies up on purpose. Let's go boom boom. This little example I'm doing is not working well because they're not giving me none of them bodies they normally give me. But either way, they get those bodies, and you play long enough, eventually one of those bodies is going to be blocking a piece of gear that you actually want to pick up. And it's pretty goddamn annoying, right? You got to pick up that stupid body, then you got to throw it on the ground just because you've got a piece of gear that you want to pick up. I am not a huge fan of that, and neither is everyone else, and that's why everyone's leaving. Now, on top of the bodies being annoying, right? The graveyard is annoying. There's no reason for the graveyard to be like it is. It kind of reminds me of Harvest League when you had to build your own crop farm, except for I loved building my own crop farm. Figuring out what was the most effective method of building your crop farm was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. There is no fun to be had in the graveyard. There's nothing fun about aligning the bodies. There's nothing really that complicated about aligning the bodies. You just have to arduously put them in the ground, painstakingly slow, one at a time, piece by piece, annoying, right? I don't even think I got a body in this map, so that was a pretty shit map demo. Let's go ahead and go into this stupid-ass graveyard, right? We go into this graveyard, boring as shit. We have all these little things, we can just fill it up, right? Boring, boring, boring. Oh yeah, you have to click berry, you have to fucking click that, then you gotta click berry, then you gotta click that, then you gotta click berry. And this is way too cumbersome, right? This is boring. This is lame. I don't like it. Nobody likes it. Only reason people are doing it is because you get good gear out of it. And that makes it even worse because a lot of people are forced to use this dog shit grave mechanic because otherwise they are going to be getting left out in gear. And FOMO is the second major problem that this league introduced. During T17 maps, a lot of people, I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is stupid. Why would they do this, right? Instead of doing that, they could have just put it into the crafting bench type of situation. You could pick up the bodies, and instead of having the bodies pop up and you have to slowly click on them, they could have just had you auto pick up bodies upon killing them, right? Let's run this dog shit and get nothing. Just fucking, I don't even care. Sure, let's do this. Anyways. Actually, I'm gonna, look how long this is taking. I'm over it. I don't even want to see what's happening. I'm out. You're taking too long. You're boring, and there's not even an enemy to fight. You're throwing a bunch of bodies into the ground. You're mixing a bunch of corpses that you've slowly gathered in all of these maps, and it's not even going to turn into a giant abomination that you get to fight in a cemetery that has unique spells and abilities based on what monsters you stuffed into that thing. No, you don't even get to fight the enemies. I was super excited about Necropolis because I thought we were going to be grabbing bodies, tossing them in the ground, and then having them come out of the ground even more powerful and having really engaging and interesting fights. That is not the case. Necropolis is useless. Now, instead of that, they could have just had Necropolis be a list like this, right? Or even in the crafting bench. You got all these abilities. Each one of these can be a different type of body type, and to the right of that, you can have a long list of like 30 or however many graves they have, and you can just drag them over, or just control left click all of your bodies into there, hit craft, and it instantly crafts you the item, right? That would be significantly better. You get rid of all the tedium that makes it not fun. It is not fun to do Necropolis at all. Nobody's enjoying it. People might think they're enjoying it. They're dumb and they're mistaken. And the reason they think they're enjoying it is because they're throwing bodies in there and getting the most insane loot that the League has ever seen. And a lot of people might be saying that insane loot like this guy, or I have a triple damage. It's probably still on my other character. A triple LE bow. All that good gear, they get the feels, right? The Gamba feels, because they got that really good piece of gear from the graveyard, but it wasn't fun to attain that gear. They're mistaking the elation of getting a great item with the way they got the great item. So they feel good when they get the great item, but it's not because Necropolis was fun. It was simply they have a new way to get an extremely overpowered item, right? Another reason that this game is not, this league is kind of trash tier is FOMO. This game has developed even more FOMO in this league. And it's kind of dumb, but that's how humans are. Humans are dumb, myself included. We're all a little bit dumb about specific things. And one of the things that people are dumb about is FOMO. And this is a single player game. Technically, what other people's loot, what they get, should not really bother you that much. Sure, there's an economy that gets impacted by other people getting loot, but for the most part, the economy was like neutrally impacted because there's a lot of gear like the Headhunter I'm running that is way cheaper than it otherwise would be, and that is because Necropolis League has shit out currency for a small group of people. And people are mad that they didn't get to be in that small group of people. If you're playing the game and you're getting 1 divine an hour, and then you go on YouTube and you see some jackass getting 1 mirror an hour, or even more than that, and you're like, what the hell? Why are they getting a mirror and I'm only getting 1 divine an hour? And so you look at their farming strategy and you're like, okay, I can do that. You go about setting up everything, you go and buy some scarabs, and you're about to use it, and then GGG nerfs the strategy that everybody else got to use to get a ton of currency that you didn't get to use. And so you're like, well, shit, these sons of bitches set up this great way to make currency and then turned it off right before I got to use it. There are a lot of people in that position, and a bunch of those people straight up just quit the league. They were like, I just spent a bunch of time to do this farming strategy, and right when I was about to hop in there and do this farming strategy, they nerfed it, right? That's a small, maybe not that small, but that is a percentage of people that did that. It happened to me. I got in on the first wave and got a bunch of really good currency on the first wave. But then the second wave, I was like, all right, I'm going to try that out. That sounds fun. And then they nerfed that as well right before I went in to do it, which was a bit frustrating. But for me, that didn't mean anything. But for a lot of other people, that was huge. That was a deal breaker. That was awful experience for them. Not so much for me. Okay, why are you not casting Discharge? Discharge is a bit wonky. It's got like a weird charge time. It makes it kind of hard to cast. I've been playing this Discharge build, and I like it a lot, but it is... Casting Discharge is just a little too wonky. Alright. So that is one of the reasons. Now let's go ahead and talk about, and you know what, instead of talking about T17s, I'm going to try this build in a T17. Haven't ran this build in a T17 yet, but I'll just go ahead and give it a shot, and I'll talk about some of the problems with the T17, right? The T17s, I think, are a great addition to the game, but there's just too many mods in the T17 that brick your build. Like this, Reflect Fizz, Reflect Elemental. Putting both of those mods in there is pretty much guaranteeing a reroll, because there's no build that, well, my build, for instance, does physical and elemental. I'm immune to physical, but I'm not immune to elemental. There's a lot of builds that do a little bit of a hybrid. There's not a lot. There's a few builds that do hybrid Fizz and elemental, and putting both of them on there is just an instant reroll for me, and that's trashed here. And let's see what we got here. Gain Frenzies, that's fine. Endurance Charge, fine. Chain, fine. Area has patches of Awakener's Desolation. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't want to have to Google 1,000 new mods on these T17s. You can't even really highlight over it and have it say what it does, right? Area has patches of Awakener's Desolation. Okay, cool. What the fuck does that do? I don't know. Let's run this map, which I don't have Awaken POE upgraded, so I can't tell how expensive. But this is a pretty expensive map, right? These maps are pretty expensive. They're not cheap. They're kind of easy to come by. But you're gonna run a map without knowing one of these mods, and it's gonna stomp you, right? I don't know what this mod does. Let's find out. It might stomp me. There's just way too many unfun mods. T17s were designed to be dicks. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, see, dot. Everybody hates dot. I hate dot, you hate dot, and once we get some of this delicious visual clarity that they have, it's gonna make that dot even worse. Now, the concept of harder maps is great, but not harder maps because they're annoying. You're gonna wanna, if you're a good developer, right? And PoE is like an end stage. I don't expect them to be bringing out the big boys for PoE 1 when pretty much all their team is working on PO2. They got like a dozen or so people working on PoE 1, if that. And they're just doing what they can. So I'm not hating on GGG, but I am explaining why League dead. And League dead because League not fun. You run a bunch of these T17s, and eventually you're going to have a bad time. And I think you're probably going to have a bad time on almost every T17, unless you're really lucky on your rolls, just because of the way they're designed to absolutely body every single build. It disables so many builds, and it's not very fun. It's not very good game design either. In order to make the enemies harder for a T17 build, there's multiple ways you can do that. One of them is to make a bunch of really difficult mods that is going to just completely gimp a bunch of builds that make it so you can't run the map, right? That's one way to go about it. Sure, you can do that if you so choose. I call that a short-sighted Miyazaki. Talking about Elden Ring again, that DLC coming out soon, right? Am I right? Yeah, very excited for that DLC. I picked up Elden Ring again, replayed through it. I haven't replayed through that game since it released, and I forgot a bunch of stuff, and it was magical. I had a magical time. It was a magical experience. I forgot a lot of that game and got to relive a bunch of it. Excellent. But anyways, what Miyazaki does is create hard games for a purpose, not hard games to be annoying. T17s are hard to be annoying. There's not really a good purpose for this, right? You can't get good at T17s if the map mods just turn your build off. Like if you have a regeneration build and the map mod turns off regeneration completely, right? That's just, you can't get good over that. There's no skill cap, it's just a map cap, and it's bad game design. It's just straight up bad game design. There's no good game design to be had in Necropolis. There's no good UI to be had in Necropolis, and they built in pop-ups. Now, in T17s, when you're running through here, there's a lot of different strategies you can use to really pump up these T17s, but every one of them requires a lot of reading and using scarabs and just really juicing your map up, which is kind of cool unless you juice a map up and there's a mod you didn't know what the hell it did, and then you run the mod and then you die, right? That's not cool. Nobody likes that. Well, maybe some people like that, but I don't know those fucking people, right? Those people don't matter. Those people don't matter. See, dog shit. Look at this damage over time dog shit, right? And whatever that was chaos damage. I don't even know, how did I get hit with chaos damage? Is this chaos damage? Doesn't look like chaos damage. It looks like some kind of fire damage to me. But either way, trash tier league. And that's why everyone's leaving. Everyone should leave. GGG needs, I mean, I don't really, they probably already knew it was a trash league before it came out, and they're probably mostly focusing on all that quality of life stuff, which probably took up most of their time instead of the league mechanic, because this league mechanic was not baked properly. they baked this bitch at 200 for 20 minutes, and it needed to go to 450 for, you know, at least 30 minutes. They did not bake this bitch enough. And now we got these lame-ass unrisen rolls, and no one wants unrisen rolls. You want your rolls to rise. You want them to taste great. You want your game developers to focus on making a fun and engaging mechanic, not something that's going to be fucking gotcha. A little fucking damage gimmick, a death gimmick, or a crafting gimmick, right? None of that is any good. We want something fun. We want to throw a bunch of bodies in the ground and fucking hit a button and have this gargantuan zombie fat thing that is literally a fucking Voltron of all the bodies you put in the ground, right? That's what people want. That's what I want. That's what the fans want. That's why people come to POE, to kill shit, right? Crafting just kind of enables us to kill shit, and for the most part gets in the way. And don't get me started on reading, right? No one knows how to read. Reading is a fad. I mean, we don't want to be reading bullshit in this game. We want to close our eyes. We want to zip around. We want to blow shit up. The last thing we want to do is sit there and read a goddamn book about the new POE crafting mechanic that's not going to go core because it's trash, or get stuck on a damage over time section that it was added to the map because there's a bunch of bombs about to go off and you're a scaredy cat and you don't want to leave your section, and then you die to dot. Now me, I'm still having a blast with this league. I just ignore Necropolis, and I kind of think maybe they nerfed how often those bodies are dropping. I mean, I've been playing Elden Ring for the past week. This is my first time logging in a week, but there's only one annoying ass body here. But when I was playing before, I was getting a ton of those bodies, and they kept covering up my loot. I wanted my loot, and then no, this stupid thing was there, and for a while it was plumb full. Eventually I just went and threw them all away, and eventually I filled up by accidentally clicking them. But you can't disable them, you can't hide them, they're just, it's annoying. Oh yeah, I was talking about that FOMO, and I never really fully covered the FOMO. So a lot of people have really good mapping strategies and really good builds, and they're able to do this T17 content and get this really good loot, and then they're able to put it on the internet and people are able to see it. And for me, that doesn't mean anything, but for a lot of the Path of Exile community, they view this game as a currency per hour generator, and it's a competition by other people who are getting currency per hour. And that's not how I play the game, but that is a significant portion of POE. When you look at a lot of the popular videos, it's all about like currency per hour. How efficient is your build? How effective is your build at getting currency? Now, when they have these strategies that get mirrors per hour instead of divines per hour, and it can't be replicated by the whole community, it's always a bad time. And there's a lot of people that just saw the price of everything shoot way the fuck up, and they're like, all right, I'm not able to get any of this stuff. I'm not able to replicate these farming methods, and I don't like the graveyard mechanic because nobody does. It's awful. I am done. And some people were done in a rage-tastic fashion where, you know, maybe they went and bought some 30 divine scarabs, and before they got to use them, they nerfed those scarabs, or they nerfed the farming method that uses those scarabs. And they're like, fuck this shit, I am out. What else is there to play? Oh, I could play myself a little bit of Last Epoch. I got some money to pay to win, I'll pay to win. Or I could play some D4 is okay instead of D4 is bad. You know, revamped, I'm gonna go in there and just not have a good time, just like I'm not having a good time in POE. Or maybe you are having a good time in D4. Still doesn't quite look like a good time to me. I'm gonna wait until they have an expansion pack and they actually release the game for real, because this is just like the PTR, and I don't ever play PTRs. It's not my job to test other people's game. Test your game yourself, you jabrownie, and release it when it's ready. Don't fucking release the game early and then, you know, make money off of the game while you actually build the game. Not everyone can do that Elon Musk shit, where you fucking have people buy your vehicle before your vehicle's even made. Don't worry, I got that Chaos Orb. I picked it up. We're good. I picked up the Chaos Orb. We are good to go. We don't need anything else. I got the Chaos Orb. That's what I was going for, you know? Just picking up loot and dying trying. That's almost all of my deaths. Just picking up loot, dying trying. Because I do enjoy picking up loot. You know what I don't enjoy picking up? bodies that I have to painstakingly put one by one into a graveyard and then click a bunch of dumbass buttons and blow shit up and not fight anybody. I mean, you could spend hours playing this league and not fight a single character in the graveyard. You can go in that graveyard and you can just spend hours putting shit in there and not fight a single character. And any league that allows you to spend hours of your time not playing the game is going to be a bad league. GGG should know this. They should know this. But that's only... I think the FOMO problem is actually the bigger problem, right? That you can have a bad league that's not very fun. And with all the quality of life changes, you know, that's pretty nice. But adding in these T17s and allowing these T17s to have such broken farming strategies is wild. And that is a big part of why Path of Exile is not being played to the same degree. Bad boss design might also play a role into this. Like, I don't even know what the hell that was. I just died from nothing. Oh, it's all chaos damage. Is this doing extra chaos damage or something? Or does this guy just do chaos damage? But anyways, done with the T17. As you saw, very annoying. T17s are just annoying. They're not fun. They aren't fun. No matter how much you try to run a T17, they aren't really that fun. Unlike a T16, which is a lot of fun, T17s just aren't. Now, for me, there was so much quality of life that this is a kind of a sad occurrence that this game is in such a sad state. Because these Atlas skill tree passives, allowing you to build 3 of them and just be able to switch them on the fly. Like, let's say I want to do a boss battle. Let's, I think it's number 2. Nope, number 3. Yeah, this is my destructive play. They're all going to be whisked up. Not great for this build, right? My discharge does like 15 million. Usually he does a pretty good job of killing the boss one shot, but when they're going to be all whisked up, it's not going to kill it. But I'm just going to do it as an example, right? I just go number 3, switch it up to Maven, and I can do this. And with this flexibility, you would think this league would be a banger, but it's really that FOMO, that T17 nonsense that is preventing a lot of people from continuing to play this game because their farming strategies are completely outclassed. Completely outclassed. And the farming strategies that now work best are super annoying to run, right? And a lot of alt goes when they try to just build the best alt go strategy they can build out. A lot of them are feeling a bit let down because their alt and go strategies just don't compare. So what they normally do to play the game to make currency just really isn't comparing, and they're not making the same relative currency that they used to in previous leagues, and they feel bad about it. So they just leave, as they should. That's essentially it. I'm just gonna run this map and ramble a bit. I'll do a video about whatever this fucking nonsense build I have going on here is in a little bit. But right now I just want to talk about the state of the game. Now, it is really sad because I was super stoked for Necropolis. I don't like to spoil too much of the league. Maybe I should start doing that from now on because I didn't even know Necropolis was going to be a non-playable league. Like, you were going to go into a graveyard and fucking spreadsheet. Except for, no, it's not even a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet would be great, right? Because then you can quickly drag and drop with the shit you need. No, this ain't no spreadsheet. This is like GUI from 1990, right? It's not even well-designed interfaces. And no one really wants that shit. Stop dropping me divines. I don't want to buy more stuff to make more builds. Care about that guy. Where did that boss go? He's wisped out of his wazoo. There's a lot of words I can't say. Like and go is always alt and go, because alt and go is so awkward to say. And wisp is also another pretty difficult word to say on the reg when you're just fucking a little blazed up and you're trying to make a video and play the game at the same time, and then you say wisp and then your fucking mouth will lisp while trying to say wisp. See, look at this. I want to pick up this map, right? And you have this annoying pop-up. They built pop-ups. They built pop-ups in this game. Now I have to close this fucking pop-up. I don't want to collect it. I don't want to do this either, right? I don't want either of those. So now I have to pick up the map and then drop this bullshit on the ground, and it's just super annoying. I'm gonna go in here just because it's gonna be cool with this discharge build, right? Right. But luckily, I'm pretty sure GGG is not more chaos damage? How is everybody doing chaos damage? Oh, it's right there. Monsters inflict withered for 2 seconds. Like, chaos damage is my one defensive weakness for this fucking build, and I just happen to play builds. Oh, I wanted to fight the boss. I just happen to run maps that are doing chaos damage, which is kind of annoying. Let's see. I learned where he was. I think it's right here. This guy. Oh, and picking up those things is super annoying. Nope, it's not that one. I never know where this fucking boss is. You over here? No, you're not over there. Are you over here? Where you at? Maybe I already killed him. He's supposed to be wisped up, so I shouldn't have killed him that easy. Maybe it's this guy. There's a couple little, there's like a tent thing. I don't see the tent thing. He's usually by a little fucking tent thing. Oh, here's the tent. Okay, yeah, he dead. Okay, he's supposed to be wisped up, so he shouldn't have died that easy. Should not have died easy. Let's do this silo map, right? Super annoying boss, but we'll do the silo map. That's fine. As a slayer, I am... See, look at this pop up. And that doesn't even include using the other things on there. As a slayer, I believe I'm immune to physical damage. Actually, I'm not even sure I'm doing... Oh, I have attack. Yep, immune to physical, right somewhere. You cannot take reflect physical damage. Okay, just had to make sure. Didn't want to pop in there and just instantly die. Now, this league could have been so damn good if all they had to do was make it an actual league where you fought enemies and you had fun. Instead of a league where you throw bodies in the ground and don't get to fight those bodies and it just gives you loot. I mean, we have a crafting bench to give us loot. They could have just tossed that in the crafting bench and made a nice little quick GUI for it. And I just hope that this doesn't go core. I hope that graveyard never sees the light of day again, because it doesn't deserve to see the light of day, because it's just bad game design. But if they do go core, hopefully they do what they did with Harvest and revamp everything. Because Harvest used to have to build the little Harvest map, which was fun the first time you did it. After that, it's no longer fun. And the graveyard might have been similar for some people. It might have been kind of fun, learning the mechanic, using it the first few times. But after you've had a couple of graveyard crafts, you are really just over it. It is not engaging. It is not fun. It is not going to keep people from going and playing D4 OK, or any other game for that matter. Which is actually probably a good thing, because I've been playing less of this game and more Elden Ring. Have I mentioned that Elden Ring DLC is coming out? But I'm playing a little bit more Elden Ring, and I use a controller for Elden Ring because keyboard and mouse is kind of trashed here in that game. So I use a controller, which is hitting different parts of my arm and my wrist, so this feels pretty good to play Path of Exile. There's no like small tinge of pain because I've been working for 8 hours and gaming for 25 hours. Because, you know, I go hard. I go hard. That's what I do. And using a controller to alternate from controller to keyboard and mouse is pretty good for my hands and wrists. A little feminine 5-inch wrist that I have. discharge is so awkward. And the fact that my mana is a little too low for discharge. Wait, where the hell do I go? Thought it was up there, but apparently not. So sometimes when I go to hit discharge, I don't have the mana. So this build isn't exactly perfectly designed. At least not yet. Actually, not ever. I'm not going to play this for too much longer. But I do want to make a video on it. We can view this as a teaser. To a preview. Even though I already have a preview for my weird Frenzy Blink discharge build. Alright, these bosses are all whiffed up. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to kill. That's why. That's what's happening. I'm not getting the enemies down to sub 50. I haven't played this mechanic in a while, so they're not getting wisped. That explains why I killed the other guy. And I don't feel that it... oh, they are getting wisped. What the hell? Oh, because now they're under 50 enemies, because that added more. That's weird. That is weird. They get mid-battle wisped. Alright. Now imagine, let's go back to that shitty Necropolis. Now imagine that you go to this Necropolis, and instead of having this graveyard and then this fucking nonsense over here, instead you just had this little stash tab, and either they could have sold a tab for this league, right? Even though that's kind of shady, but instead of that, instead of this nonsense here, you can just get like just a list. And instead of these graves, here, I'm gonna use one of the specialty stash tabs. So let's do this one, right? Let's grab me a piece of gear that I can craft, and most of my shit's here. Let's get a badass fucking jewel here. So instead of having this Necropolis nonsense, imagine that this is your graveyard, right? Your cemetery, right? You put your body here, and on the left, I mean your coffin here, and instead of having one of these, you have a bunch. And on the left of that, you have a long list of all of the bodies you've picked up. And by picked up, I mean auto picked up. Not bodies that you have to click a stupid button that's blocking all of your loot, or that you might click on accident when you're trying to fight battles. No, it auto picks it up as if it's currency of some sort that you auto pick up. I'm trying to think of the league mechanic where you auto pick up the currency. That is going to be Expedition, right? Auto picks up like Expedition. So you're auto picking up the bodies, and then you have a long list of bodies over here, and it's organized, or you can even sort it by whatever you want, right? In a little search function, and then you just grab those bodies, and maybe there's a checkbox to the left of them, and you just click checkboxes on all the bodies you want. Checkbox, 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 checkbox. Then you hit a button, and then it crafts you a piece of gear, and it can make fireworks and flashy lights, whatever they wanted to do on there, and then it crafts a piece of gear. And then it didn't work right, you throw that gear on the ground, and you go checkbox, 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 and you do it again. That is significantly better than this. Why do we need a graveyard? I mean, why do we need this to put the bodies into? It's just lame game design. It is equivalent to the developers of Path of Exile putting in QuickTime events to jump over ledges instead of giving you a dash or jump that can jump over that ledge. Instead of going like to here and then dashing over of your own accord using your own skills, your own positioning, they instead say hit X, and then you hit X and it does all the animations for you. Bad game design. This is just bad game design. Bad UI design. It was just a failed experiment. It did not work. And that is the only reason that Necropolis is in a bad state. That is all. I am a Basedard. Late.